Well, hello everyone. How's it going? It's the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast on this St. Patrick's week. None of us know what day of the week it is at all. It's fierce confusing. We nearly forgot to do the podcast, but we have Tom Crotty here anyway. Johnny and James are busy. James is pulling the shed apart, and Johnny's busy doing stuff as well. How are you, Tom?
I'm not the best, Stephen. Yourself?
Sure, I'm not too bad at all. Great to have a couple of days off to do a few bits, as the lad says, and great weekend of sport to look forward to as well. Towns, Kilkenny have a big match. We're going to talk about that soon as well. We're going to talk about your own Towns Cup game last weekend, Tullow's, and of course Ireland, England. We're going to look back at that, and we'll preview Ireland, Scotland, and anything else as well. So Tom Crotty, of course, is the president of Carlow Football Club, Carlow Rugby Football Club. What do you call it, Tom?
County Carlow.
There you are.
County Carlow Football Club.
The original and the best.
That's it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Tom, I suppose we'll start with the local stuff, obviously, as we do every week, and we'll start again with we always start with Kilkenny, I suppose, because it goes with that order with the divisions and everything. But the Towns Cup, I know, is different. But Kilkenny beaten Edenderry, so they got into their promotion relegation playoff the week before with their win, and there's a quick turnaround then to get stuck into Towns Cup. But they did the job. 34-21 against Edenderry is good going.
Yeah, I think from the sounds of it, it was kind of a ding-dong battle for a long time. Kilkenny, I think I got a text from Blanche during the middle of it, and I think they were only ahead by 2 points at the time. And he said it was tough going, but I'd say Kilkenny. Look, not talking to them after the game or anything, but I presume Kilkenny's bench and strength and depth probably was just that much too much for Edenderry, because I'd say it was. Edenderry would be a tough old pack and a tough team to beat at the best of times. They get stuck into it, and cup rugby is cup rugby. But by the sounds of it, I think it was just Kilkenny just too strong for them in the end. But I know, fair dues to Edenderry. I mean, they ran them close for a long time, so it sounded like a good game down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not easy. They've had a tough season mentally and everything as well. Facing into a possible relegation, Tom, is not easy, of course.
No, and they've had a lot of injuries as well, and they kind of. It's been unlucky, I think, from the sounds of it, James, from what James been informing us week in, week out, that they just haven't had their full team on the pitch as yet. But they seem to be getting their act together now, so they'll definitely be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. If they can stay in Division 1A and make a good inroads into the Towns Cup, it'll be considered a decent season at the end of it, despite what happened. But I suppose the flip side of it is too, Kilkenny's reward for beating Edenderry is that they get to face yourselves. We'll talk about that in a second. But gee, the good, brilliant win over Navan at the weekend.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of an unknown quantity going up to Navan, but we knew that it was going to be tough. They're never easy to beat, especially in their own home ground. We were a bit concerned that they'd strengthened their pack a little bit. They brought back a couple of props back into it, and actually when they tugged out on the pitch, you could see the size difference. They weren't exactly the tallest team, but they were big and physical. Their backline wasn't too bad. They lost their centre halfway during the first half, I think, and that was kind of a big blow to them, because he was a very dominant figure, kind of 6 foot odd, and a heavy set, and was causing, had to be watched and caused damage every time he got the ball. But no, we got a good penalty. You got a penalty, kicked a penalty early in the first few minutes of the game. Our defence was just super again. Then we got another penalty, and we had Richie White kicked over a second penalty that left it at 6-0, and we were 6-0 going into the break. No, the score. It was actually, our defence was really just absolutely unreal. It totally frustrated. It frustrated Navan, to be honest, and I think it was they had an opportunity they had 2 opportunities to kick penalties. They didn't go for it. They tapped and went one of the penalties. And I think, to be honest, it was a mistake by them because they never really looked like scoring from open play. They might have scored, maybe tried the set piece, I don't know, but they just never they didn't. They were just driven back every single time, and they continued to get more and more frustrated. But we had Richie then. We worked in the second half. Then we worked our way up the pitch. We were up outside their 22, and we had a penalty. But Richie just took a shot for drop goal and sank a drop goal from their 10-meter line, and just around their 10-meter line was a cracking drop goal. And I think that it was that score, I think, to be honest, really sunk Navan. It wasn't. We got down to their corner a little bit later on then, and got a rolling ball going, and got in again. Richie again kicked a fantastic conversion from almost from the touchline. So they were dead and buried. They were, to be honest, I thought they were gone from 9, but they were dead and buried when we got to the 17. And I have to say, like, if you were going with the man of the match, or it was Richie White, and while Shirley had absolutely outstanding games. The Edgehill
couple of line-out steals and everything, didn't he?
Oh, he did. He just had a cracking. Wes had a cracking game. Just got in there, and we were doing really well. No, I have to say, the boys, thumbs up to them. Until about the last 10 minutes, we had a very low penalty count, and then we had a moment of madness for about 3 or 4 minutes and gave away a couple of penalties. And their punishment was they had to go training Tuesday night. So
that's sharp up, all right.
That's it, yeah. But the 2 Edgehill, the cousins, were there, and Johnny Murphy had great games. And again, from the back row, just defensively, Conor Tracy was a big barrel just going forward, just so hard to manage. He played an unreal game, and I have to say, Paddy Mackey, their Australian that came in, I'll have to mention him again. Like, Paddy's just such a solid player, but it's not just his what he does around the park. It's the way he talks to the team and just rallies lads around, and he's just a good leader to kind of have there. So hands off, Paddy Mackey had a great game as well, and the backs were just solid, just as normal. There was good centre partnership there with McDermott and young Phil Crotty there. They both had solid games defensively. There wasn't a player from 1 to 20. Everyone gave it their all. So look, that's that.
Congratulations, Tom, for that. But you're next. You're going to face James Blanchfield's Kilkenny next. So that's a tough one. But sharpens the focus.
Well, put it this way, it's you could have got an easier draw. Yeah, I'm sure there might be an easier draw, but try and find that easy draw, because there's no team going to give up easy in a quarter final of a Towns Cup. Look, if you're going to win a cup, you have to beat everyone. Yeah. And it means you're either going, if you meet Kilkenny now, you're going to meet them now, or you're going to meet them in the final. It doesn't matter. If you lose a final, you lose a final. It doesn't matter whether it's quarter final or a final. If you lose the game, you're gone. So you have to win every game as it comes. So yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate, I suppose, that we got Kilkenny so we're kind of early on. But look, that's the look of the draw. They're we don't have to say anything. We know what they're like. They're a very, very solid team. Always have. And they've good coaches down there. They've like Steve Ashmore's there. Steve knows us fairly well, so we know him fairly well as well. But to be honest, look, it's a tough game. It's tough having to go there. We would have preferred, as any team would prefer, to have them at home. But look, we'll go. And as I said to the lads, they've nothing to lose. Just throw the kitchen sink at it, and may the best team win on that day. We'll have a look into that next week. We'll have a run forward for it. But Kilkenny have. We're just saying that Kilkenny have a big game on Saturday. So.
They do. We're going to discuss that. Well, should we probably just sidestep onto that one now, Tom? We'll talk about Tullow and Dundalk's game now in a second. But yeah, huge for Kilkenny. This is it now. This is their promotion relegation playoff. They're either coming down to in Tullow or they're staying put. They're playing Wicklow, and that's in Carlow, Tom, on Sunday. Am I right?
Yeah, if anyone's around and wants to come up and watch it, should be a really good. We're all neutrals on this one, so I mean, from the Carlow point of view, anyone that wants to come up and watch a good game, or from Tullow wants to come over and watch a good game, it's they have to, like, Kilkenny have to win. It doesn't matter because they can't. Other than that, they're relying on Bective, and we don't know. Like, we were all presuming, there's a lot of talk that Bective will go up, will go back AIL this year, but that's not a definite answer. I mean, there's still teams out there. There's a northern team, a team from Ulster in that round robin that's seemingly very strong, and like, they're probably much of an unknown fixture. So you can't say that they're going to beat. They're three tough games. They have to beat. They have to beat. Bective have to beat the Ulster champions, the Connacht champions, and the Munster champions. Yeah. They have to beat those three to get to qualify.
Absolutely.
So you can't. Kilkenny can't rely on them going up. Because if they mess up, then so it is a huge game for them, and a huge game for Wicklow. Like, it's I'll have to say, like, I'm very friendly with Brian Clark, the president of Wicklow, so I've been a little bit torn on this one, I know, but look, we'd like to see Kilkenny staying in Division 1. It's nice to have, we'd all want to be there. Yeah. Like, it's everyone wants to, like, Carlow want to be there, Tullow want to be there, and I'm sure Wicklow will really want to get, they have a chance to get up on Sunday. So, I mean, it's a big game for them too. So, yeah, I think it'll be a tight call. Yeah. It will be a tight call. Wicklow are solid, are a solid team. And if they have everyone available to them, I think it could be a really, really, really good game.
Yeah, guaranteed a great game in Oak Park anyway on Sunday.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Tullow lost out to Dundalk, Tom. They're gone. This is a bit of a head scratcher in a sense, because Tullow were well in control of that match, and Dundalk even had Tullow started well. Dundalk even had two lads yellow carded in quick succession as well in the first half, I think it was, and it looked to be fairly in control of that, but Dundalk just managed to pull it back and pit them. That one hurt.
These did, yeah, because we were actually there, and we got the word, that Dundalk had scored first and got the 7. But then the next couple of minutes later, we knew that they were winning, and then they were ahead by a decent amount. And I said, "Oh, that's grand." And then it was near the end of our own game, and one of the lads that Tullow were losing by a point or 2 points, whatever it was, and it can't be. But seemingly, it just changed in the last quarter of the game. So I don't know whether Tullow ran out of steam, but it's unfortunate. Like, I didn't think, and as I said, like, I'm eating my words now, because I really thought the boys had pulled that one because of Dundalk, getting relegated and having to travel 2.5 hours down to the Black Gates.
You're nearly right, Tom.
I didn't think they'd do it. But sure, look, that's what I'm saying. Cup rugby is a really strange game, so you don't know what's going to happen. But that was
absolutely. Willie Holla was on fire with the boot on the day. Kicked everything put in front of him. He got 2 tries as well. He got the one that brought Tullow up to 27-10 lead. So there was a 17-point lead at one stage. Dundalk got a try back then, and then Tullow had a man yellow carded. And Dundalk made the most of it. They managed to pull the gap back to 3 points, 27-24. And then Dundalk got over again and converted, and 31-27 is how it finished up. And I think if you're Tullow, you'd be standing on the pitch there going, "What happened? What happened in the second half at all?" Like, it's a tough one.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the real thing, the game of two halves. So, I wasn't there, and I didn't really talk to anyone afterwards. I met one guy. He just kind of said that Tullow ran out of steam, kind of ran out near the end, and maybe
Dundalk caught up.
Dundalk's bench was a tiny bit stronger than the lads, but look, it's a tough one for them to take too, and
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we all want it, and I know you have the rivalry and stuff, but nobody wants to see wants to see team going out. You don't want to play them either, but you have to play them at some stage. But
absolutely.
I mean, look, it always, when Tullow are involved, it kind of adds a bit of spice to things, especially if we're still involved. So, but anyway, look.
That's it. So it's all march on. Yourselves in Kilkenny, and of course Kilkenny's relegation playoff, as we said there, is on Sunday in Oak Park in Carlow. So get in and have a look if you want. Just going to touch on women's rugby there at the moment. So Kilkenny women had a big win last weekend, 48 points to 7 over Swords. So they finished their league campaign top of the table, but they do need other results to go in their favour to secure a league title. But a fantastic season for them. They've been absolutely fantastic, starting back up again and getting right back up to the top. Tullow drew with Tullamore, so that's their Division 1 Leinster League campaign finished. The Paul Flood Cup is next for Tullow. They're into the Cup will be next, but they finished in third position on their table. So a good season, I suppose, for the Tullow ladies as well. We're going to talk about the Irish team. Now we'll move on to international rugby, and I think, you know what, we'll go and have a look back at the England match first, Tom, will we? And see what the story was there. I'm going to get the team. The team has been announced for that match anyway, but I'm going to pull up the old highlights there. So Ireland, England. Overall, Tom, happy. They won. Job done. The scrum was annihilated, but as we found out after, that there was a fierce lot of infringements. There's a lot of turning in on Dan Sheehan and all sorts of stuff that wasn't picked out by the ref on the day, but you had to feel for Tyke Furlong and the lads in the front row that day. That was tough.
Yeah, I think it is. It's from a scrummaging point of view. There weren't all penalties, and there couldn't be all penalties. You can't just continually whip round like that, and continually make the same call for a penalty on it. I think the lads have taken a little bit. I thought, after looking at back and hearing different things and whatever, like I played the front row myself, and you do have to learn. I don't think Dan Sheehan probably has the experience of, like, he's very, very young for an international hooker, to have that little bit of experience on the dark arts of the front row and how to counteract your opposition. No, I thought Furlong and Healy should have counteracted it a bit better than they did. I think they were a bit taken back, and but I don't think it's as bad as everybody was. We're just saying our scrum was annihilated. This, but I don't think, to be honest, it would have. It wouldn't have been as bad with a different referee, and I think he also had. I think he gave him benefit of the doubt because he felt the England's pack was a bit stronger, and also the fact that he'd red carded earlier on in the game. So I think a little bit went that way. But I think the game, look, history will show that we beat England in Twickenham this year, so It's not going to show anything about scrums, and no one's going to remember scrums or remember games. It's about the result at the end of the day. I think playing 14 men is very, very hard. I know at the end, it's when you score, you have to have patience. We were probably a bit over the top, trying to force things an awful lot, but I think that's what happens when you're playing 14 men. When you're playing 14 men, you think there's going to be overlaps on the outside, which there probably is, or there's going to be space there because somebody has to give up that bit of space. But I think we probably forced stuff way, way too early. We saw like at the very end, when a bit of experience come on and things slowed down, and we actually just took them on, and they were tired out at the end. We got our scores to win the game, and it was fantastic to get a bonus point win as well.
Absolutely.
I think we could have done better, but it's. I still think it's really hard to play between that, since having a red card so early, and I think he did try to force things. But I don't, and then to be on the losing end of all the scrum penalties, and very frustrating for Ireland. So I think that whole thing. I think the game just got frustrated, and I think when we brought on our subs at the end, I think it made that a little bit of an addition to get slowing down the pace. I think it was right. I think Gibson Park had an outstanding game. I think it was right to bring on Murray when he did, because it did. He did slow it down a tiny bit and just change the way we play. I thought Henshaw played really, really well when he came on.
It was fantastic.
I think Bundy had probably one of his poorer games.
He was quiet.
But he's up. I mean, he's up against the English centre partnership or a strong partnership. Like it's not a weak partnership that they have. But I mean, it's. I think the team as a whole didn't do as badly as people are kind of saying that we didn't perform, but we did perform. We won. We got a bonus point, right? No matter what. That is my opinion. That I think that the key factor is we won the game. We got the bonus point, and now we're in a position to win a Triple Crown. And maybe if England get fire in, that there might be France in Paris, which I think that could very well happen, because I think there's an awful lot of pressure going to be on the French. It's very young captain, very young side. It's an awful lot. Everybody's talking about World Cups in France. This team is the best team in years, and there's an awful lot. French expect. They're worse than us, They really do. There's no forgiveness over there. So there's a huge expectation for them, and then England, of course, are going to have to try and bounce back from losing to us last weekend. And Eddie Jones. I mean, Eddie Jones has a lot to answer for too. So England will have to. I'd be very wary of the English going to France.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's a chance that we could win. Hopefully win the Triple Crown at the minimum, because I think it's 2011 or it's a long time since we won. It's that long since we won a trophy at home. We've won away, but we haven't won anything at home for a long, long time. So it's the first chance we have to get the trophy back up again in the Aviva, and it'd be lovely to receive the Triple Crown there on Saturday.
Absolutely. You make a good point. England will want to save face, and like you said, with all the pressure on Eddie Jones as well, their game is going to be a cracker. But the pressure, we have to put our own pressure on ourselves anyway for Scotland, because Scotland, the same as they've done many times before, could pull one over on us, and not out of blue either. They tend to be able to do that sometimes as well, and we have quite a young team, but we should be okay. The red card anyway, Tom. Yeah, red card all day on James Ryan. We're just looking at it there on the screen for those watching on YouTube.
He got a three match ban as well. So
just fair enough. It was high, and it was just the rules. That's the way it's gone. People are still there's still people complaining that they're too harsh and this, that, and the other, but they're fairly black and white, the rules. So,
but you can you're hitting some. It's whether a hit to the head is a hit to the head. That's the rules of it. We're one sport that are so under the spotlight, and we're probably the one sport that do more than any other sport in regards to concussion and our awareness, and even from youth upwards, referees, everyone is so conscious of concussions and the amount of cases that are taken off the field on a Saturday just out of precaution, and might half the time, more than half the time, there's nothing wrong with them at all, and they haven't had. But it's just we're so fearful. We want to make sure that our players are protected, and we have to protect it. Us in clubs have to protect our youths and our own players, but we also have to, from a public point of view, we have to see that that the rules are adhered to, and the rules state a high hit to the head is a red card. And there was no mitigating circumstances to that. It wasn't accidental. He hit high. That's his fault. End of story.
Yeah, and the rules are in place, Tom, about 2 years, and as the analysis said at the weekend, these lads should know the story now. Like, it's not like the rules were brought in at the start of the Six Nations. They know.
Well, it was the exact same the Italian game.
Yeah,
he came on, that lad came on, and you could see that he was hitting high from first minute. So you just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Any underperformers, do you think, in the Ireland side?
Yeah,
There's a lot of penalties given away by Henderson.
Like he did some really. He did some really good stuff, and then he did give away penalties. But he's probably that bit rusty. He's kind of rusty as well. He's only really coming back in again. But I'm glad he's back in. He's the better second row, and you do need his physicality there. And he's going to be needed on Saturday. So I mean, you can understand it there. I thought Peter O'Mahony was actually quite. He's dropped back to the bench. But then it's just having him on the field. I think a part of it is leadership, and I think, in fairness, he did try and talk to the referee about the scrums. Did try and talk, about the lineups and stuff, but I don't think the ref was having any of it from him. But I feel sorry for Andrew Conway, he's a little niggle and he's out. I know we have a very good replacement in Mack Hanson, so. But I just feel sorry for him because he did kick those 50-22s. That was a massive, massive thing for us.
Yeah,
last weekend.
They were fantastic. I think he was surprised at the first one. He wasn't expecting it, but he did it the same as Byrne. Tyke just hit it a belt and it went out and everything was grand. But they're hugely important. That was crucial that time of the game as well. So. It's unfortunate that he's injured, and that leads us in nicely to the Scotland match. Well, the team anyway, Tom, for those that haven't heard it or listened to the podcast, Cian Healy, Dan Sheehan, Tyke Furlong, second row Tyke Byrne and Henderson. So the back row this week is Caelan Doris at 6, Josh at 7 and Jack Conan at 8. Jameson Gibson Park and Johnny Sexton. James Lowe is on the left wing. Bundyaki and Gary Ringrose remain in the centre. Mack Hanson is back and he's onto the right wing. And Hugo Keenan is full back. And on the bench, Rob Herring, Dave Kilcoyne, Finlay Bealham, Kieran Treadwell is in there to cover second row. Peter O'Mahony, Conor Murray, Joey Carberry and Robbie Henshaw. They have a huge problem with second rows. They're all broke at the moment. Ryan Baird is a back injury as well, so he's out. And they brought in Ross Maloney, two lads from Leinster, two second rows from Leinster this week. One of them, Ross Maloney, to and keep the numbers up in training as well. So you can see the issues that they're having in that position, with all the injuries.
Yeah, and I think Kieran Treadwell probably is a good bet to bring in. He's a big physical guy as well. So, and you're going to need that because I'm sure as hell. I'm sure Scotland will probably go and try and hit the pack again, but I don't think they have quite the physicality that England had in the pack. So, but they will chase after. I'm sure they will chase after the same as any team that thinks they can beat you.
Mack Hanson on the right wing. It's not his preferred position, but he's not going to complain with a green jersey on for the Six Nations and possibly Triple Crown contending game, I suppose. He'll play whatever position. If it doesn't matter, as the lad says, he gets a jersey, he'll be happy enough. Do you see any issues with Mack on the other side?
No, I don't think so. I think he's a good ball carrier. He's good. He's an attacking player. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one thing he is, and he's a good eye for a ball. So, you're not going to. I mean, he's proven point. You're not going to kick a high ball down to him, or if you do, he will counter. He will counter attack, and we need James Lowe's big boot on the other side. We need that extra his big boot on the other side for the exits. We were missing that or something, and I have to say now in the last couple of games that he's played, I definitely become a little bit more of a fan and less of a critic. I know lads will be laughing, but yeah,
are you warming up to him, Tom?
Yeah. And it wasn't not from a Leinster point of view. That's different. Club rugby is club rugby. I think he's such a solid player with Leinster, but I think back 2 years ago, or whenever he started to come into the Irish setup, we were kind of a bit worried about his defensive. But I think he makes up for. I think he's sort of got that in control. Yeah. He may not be still not the best defender, but do his job there. And the main thing, the critical thing, is that his attacking play is so good. And as I said, that massive boot that he has is an asset to any team. And Jesus, I mean, anybody loves it. We had, as I said, Richie White on Sunday for us played probably his best game kicking wise, was booting the ball way downfield, and every time you could see Navan's forwards heads down. So I'm sure it's the same at international level when your man gives his big hammer of a boot and you have to turn your heels and get back down the field. So,
and wear yourself out.
Yeah, we'll have to fingers crossed anyway. I'm going up, and I hope we have a good day.
Absolutely. Hopefully, and and hopefully at least we get the Triple Crown anyway. And hopefully England do us a favour, as the lad says. Good weekend of rugby, Tom. And don't forget, if you're knocking around Carlow, Kilkenny and Wicklow are in action in Oak Park on Sunday in their Division 1A, 1B promotion relegation playoff as well. Some great local rugby to watch as well. You'll get plenty of entertainment there as well. It's a fiver in, Tom, I think, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and we're given part of the gate as well as going to the Ukraine as well, Ukraine fund. So
excellent.
That's not all. As I say, we're just collecting a few pounds at the gate for on the way in.
Absolutely, has to be done. I think that's us for the week, Tom. Is it? Plenty of stuff covered there, and sure. Good luck at the weekend. Enjoy the match on Sunday, and. We'll catch up with the lads next week to see how Kilkenny got on. Fingers crossed to stay where they are in Division 1A. The best of luck to them on Sunday. And
I say James will have plenty to talk about next week.
Oh, stop. Either way, there'll be plenty to talk about, whatever happens, And we'll see how we go with the Six Nations / Triple Crown as well. Hopefully there'll be some celebrations anyway, something positive to talk about next week. Tom's been great having you for company as always. Thanks a million for talking to us.
Thanks, Stephen.
No butters. We'll wrap it up there for the week. Tom Crotty, the president of Carlow Rugby Club, and myself, Stephen Byrne. Talk to you next week.